Hi again, this is Jeff Ryland with Abundant Design. Today I'll show you economical ways to find pots and seed starting trays to grow your plants from seed until they're ready to go out into the garden. The easiest way is to use one of these inexpensive plastic seed starting trays. These will give you limited space as your plants grow, but they'll give you a nice dome that will hold in the humidity until your seeds germinate, and then once they get a little bit of growth on them, then you can remove this lid and keep the seed mix from getting moldy and all the sorts of problems you can get with too much moisture in there, and it will give them better access to the light as well. Another inexpensive way is toilet paper rolls in some sort of plastic tray that you can find. You can cut them down to make little small seed starting containers. You can start with just a toilet paper roll and cut that into thirds. You can maybe even use fourths if you wanted to, and weren't concerned about having much soil to actually get them started. You can repot as they grow if you want to and if you have the time to do that. Alternatively, if you don't want to take the time to repot, you can go with something a little bit bigger. Use one of those same sort of seed starting trays and use the whole toilet paper roll, and that will give you a good 3 to 4 inches of good soil and will allow your plants to get a little bit bigger. And these are biodegradable, so you can just put those straight out in the garden and they'll just kind of fall apart in the soil. And you can also use a paper towel roll. Cut that again into thirds. And this is new for me this year. I haven't ever tried this with the Dixie cups. Should work really, really well. You let these sit with a little water in the bottom and they just start to fall apart. Got these as kind of a treat for the little ones, and it's amazing how fast they go through these. Saw a whole stack in the trash and thought, well, I'll give them a shot this year. So I don't know if the dyes and stuff will inhibit germination. Shouldn't. Once it gets out to the garden, that should all just dissolve. And you can always reuse pots that you maybe picked up last year or from some other place. Upcycled is always good. Doesn't hurt to maybe give those a quick dunk in maybe a 2% bleach solution. Let them dry in the sun before you reuse them. Favorite ways to start seeds, although I have had some mixed results on germination. I don't know if it's the glue they use, is using egg cartons. Again, very biodegradable. They'll get wet, and you want a way to hold them together as your seeds start to grow. I had really good luck with onions in them last year. One thing I do like to do is mix and match. These are pressed cardboard egg cartons, and I like to score them with a utility knife, and that will help break them apart easier. I'll even, I guess I didn't do it on these, but you can put an X with a utility knife on there, and that just helps the roots escape. Then we can use like one of the plastic egg carton lids, and that makes a nice little tray underneath to keep things neat. You can use the full plastic egg cartons for seed starting, but then you need to pop the little soil plug out of there when you go to plant. I have seen people use eggshells. Just when you're making eggs, you pop off one of the ends, and then you want to rinse those real good, and you can fill an egg shell with potting soil and start your seeds in there. As your plants get bigger, and said you can use the reuse the previously used pots, or go ahead and I like to use the convenience store cup if you want to use it just as is, you should use your utility knife and cut a couple holes to drain there. Remove the lid, fill it with soil, and you can pot it in there. When you go to put it in the ground, you tap it upside down, a couple fingers on each side of the stem to catch it. Hope the root ball stays together. The way I'm going to show you today, you've got the straw hole in the lid, put a little extra drain hole there and there. Just give it a little extra drainage. And then we'll take be very careful when you do this. I'll just cut around the little rim that's supposed to fit in your vehicle's cup holder. That makes a nice little pot. Here's a pear tree that I grafted for a friend that I have growing in a convenience store cup. All sorts of things you can do and reuse and upcycle. Another really cheap way to make a bigger pot to put your transplants into is the newspaper pot. You want a tray to put these in after you're done to hold them together and hold the water in. But these are very simple. You'll take a sheet of newspaper and tear it down the main fold to get one page. Fold that in half. Wrap it around an existing pot. You can also use a mason jar, pop can, 2-liter bottle, depending on the size you want. And wrap it all the way around, and then just like wrapping a Christmas present, on one end, you fold it each side in, and then fold in the ears, and then you put that in your rack. Put your soil mix in there, and put your transplant in there now. But once they're full of soil and you get a little moisture in there, they'll hold together really nice. And you can do quite a few of these, and they work really nice. Out in the garden, that newspaper will just fall apart. The roots will blast right through it. So I did a ton of tomatoes in these last year, and they worked really well. So there you have it. Different size and ways to start your seeds. And if you want to transplant them as they get bigger, there's different very frugal and economical ways to do that. When I'm preparing my potting mix, you want to make sure that that's moist. If you want to pour some of your potting soil into an ice cream bucket the day before, add some water to that, give it a couple good swirls with the lid on. And that will get it good and moist. A good rule of thumb when you plant seeds is to plant them to the depth of the size of the seeds. So if you're planting some carrot seeds or radish seeds, you're just barely covering them because they're super tiny. And if you're planting something bigger, like a squash seed, maybe put that down maybe half an inch. If you're going to plant an acorn or a walnut, you want to go an inch or two on those as well. So, hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll be able to put this information to use and start some seeds for your garden this year. Stay tuned to my blog or my YouTube page, and if you would like help with your garden, give me a call, shoot me an email, and we can get a design going so that you can have a sustainable, edible, and regenerative landscape that's better for you and for the environment. Take care.